Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. I've been doing this series of simulated conversations in which I stitch together the actual quotations of interesting luminaries and interesting pairs, and I'm reading them to you and posting them in print on medium.com. And so today's is Barack Obama and Margaret Thatcher. And I do add connectives so that it seems more like a conversation. And I'm not going to call those out, but trust me, they don't change the substance at all. It's just a way of connecting them a little bit. If you want to see the actual connectives on medium.com, I denote them in italics. Excuse me. Barack Obama says, if you're looking for the safe choice, you shouldn't be supporting a black guy named Barack Obama to be the next leader of the free world. Thatcher says, I wasn't a safe choice either. What Britain needed was an iron lady. Curing the British disease with socialism was like trying to cure leukemia with leeches. Obama says, apart from our being strong leaders, anybody who's occupied this office has to remember that success is determined by an intersection in policy and politics, and that you can't be neglecting of marketing and PR and public opinion. Thatcher says true, and going a step further, you don't need to tell deliberate lies, but sometimes you have to be evasive. Obama says, PR is one thing, but on the substance I was unambiguous. For example, to avoid being mistaken for a sellout, I chose my friends carefully, the more politically active black students, the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors and structural feminists, and punk rock performance poets. I've been fighting with Acorn alongside Acorn on issues you care about my entire career. Thatcher says, all that's socialism. The problem with socialism is that you essentially run out of other people's money. Obama. It wasn't just socialism, it's focusing on the other. For example, the United States has been enriched by Muslim Americans. Many other Americans have Muslims in their families or have lived in a Muslim-majority country. I know, because I'm one of them. Thatcher says, yes, but I fear we've been too capitulating to OPEC and to extremist groups. Now that was my connective. That was the largest connective I've made. But what her actual quote then says is, I seem to smell the stench of appeasement in the air. Obama says, I'm no appeaser, no wimp. I've got a pen and I got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and to take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward. Thatcher says, we have different definitions of forward. No matter. I love argument. I love debate. I don't expect anyone just to sit there and agree with me. That's not their job. Obama says, you're right. We don't agree on what forward looks like. We need someone who's got the heart, the empathy to recognize what it's like to be a young teenage mom, the empathy to understand what it's like to be a poor or African American or gay or disabled or old. And that's the criterion by which I'll be selecting my judges. Thatcher says, and yes, we have different criteria for judging people. More than empathy, I think about what is success. I think it's a mixture of having a flair for the thing you're doing, knowing that it's not enough, that you have to work hard and with a certain sense of purpose. I do not know anyone who has gotten to the top without hard work. That is the recipe. It will not always get you to the top, but it should get you pretty near. Obama says, we share common ground here. We need to internalize the idea of excellence. Not many folks spend a lot of time trying to be excellent. Shake it off. Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We're going to press on. We have work to do. Thatcher said, but your definition of work is different from mine. You're focusing on making things more equal. I focus on wealth creation and in turn job creation. That, by the way, was my connective. Here is her actual quote. It is not the creation of wealth that is wrong, but the love of money for its own sake. Obama. Again, looking for common ground, I think we can agree at least that the Middle East is obviously an issue that has plagued the region for centuries. Thatcher. Yes, I do try to remember that it pays to know the enemy, not least because at some time you may have the opportunity to turn him into a friend. Obama says, but beyond the Middle East threats, when we think of the major threats to our national security, the first to come to mind are nuclear proliferation, rogue states, and global terrorism. But another kind of threat lurks beyond our shores, one from nature, not humans, an avian flu pandemic. Thatcher says, You mentioned nuclear proliferation. Actually, I believe that a world without nuclear weapons would be less stable and more dangerous for us all. Obama says, just because I'm concerned about nuclear proliferation, again, doesn't mean I'm some appeaser. We have real enemies in the world. These enemies must be found. They must be pursued, and they must be defeated. Thatcher says, sounds like we can find common ground in that we're conviction politicians. To me, consensus seems to be the process of abandoning all beliefs, principles, values, and policies. So it is something in which no one believes in and to which no one objects. I am not a consensus politician. I'm a conviction politician, Obama says. But there can be a problem if everyone's a conviction politician and not a compromiser. And that was my connection, by the way. It's one of the few regrets of my presidency, and this is his quote, it's one of the few regrets of my presidency that the rancor and suspicion between the parties has gotten worse instead of better. For example, even though I'm a liberal, and that was my connective, the last thing you would want to do is raise taxes, and here is his quote, the last thing you'd want to do is raise taxes in the middle of a recession, because that would just suck up and take more demand out of the economy and put businesses in a further hole. I am an ardent believer in the free market. America has a debt problem and a failure of leadership. Americans deserve better. I therefore intend to oppose the effort to increase America's debt. What Washington needs is adult supervision. Thatcher says, there again I agree. Pennies do not come from heaven. They have to be earned here on earth. In any event, I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel, which usually consists of my self-help advice around career, money, relationships, and the meaning of life, but occasionally I intersperse my piano playing or various experiments, of which this is one in a series of conversations between interesting pairs of luminaries. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.